What's going on, guys? Today's video, we're going to be continuing to work on this abandoned Dodge Ram 1500 SST. So in the last video, we got everything cleaned up. We went to the junkyard, scrap yard, the U-pull-it yard, pick apart, got some leaf springs since these ones are sacked out. We also cleaned up the frame, painted the frame, and removed the bed. And also, if you guys are new to the channel and have not yet seen the work we've done, I got some junk on the hood, which I think I might be scratching the paint. I don't know. But we do have a Gen 3 Hemi in there. I'll show you guys that in just a minute. What I'm working on right now is I'm getting this scrap metal all situated. I'm cutting it up and then I'm gonna weld it into a cart. I picked up some wheels from Harbor Freight. That way we can actually put the bed on it and I can move the bed around and we can continue to work on the back half of the truck, because I do want to pull this cab and clean up and paint the front half of the frame. We've done the back half now, but the lift is being occupied by the bed, and in order for me to get the bed off the lift, I need to build a cart. So that's what I'm doing right now. Let me get this situated and I'll show you guys what I come up with. Well, boys, she ain't pretty, but I will say this thing is probably the most solid meth cart in Florida. So anyways, there it is. It's just put together with scrap metal, but she's solid. There's a bunch of extra brackets and stuff that I didn't bother cutting off. Maybe if I really care one day, I can cut off the extra brackets, but you can see here I joined it all over the place. But this thing is a beast. So I got 4 Harbor Freight casters on it. It was like 25 bucks for all 4, and then free metal, so it is what it is. I don't know, maybe at some point I'm probably like, part of the cool thing is that I absolutely don't care about it to the extent that I can just throw it back outside. I don't have to keep it inside. It's already rusty. It's not like I'm gonna be losing anything. So I don't know, I was thinking about like cleaning up and painting it, but I think I'll probably just leave it as is so that I don't care about it. So anyways, let's go ahead and test her out. This should work great. The other thing too is it's going to lift the bed up higher than what you see it there right now. That way, when it does come time to paint this thing and all that, the bed can be up high so that when we decide to paint it or whatever, the bed will be up high, we can sand it, all that stuff. It's not going to be like on the ground. So I don't know, depending on how off-roadish we have to go when we paint the thing, I might have to upgrade the wheels, but we'll assess that later. So let's go test it out. All right, boys, well, this thing is sitting on the weight of the cart. I'm probably gonna just double check, just make sure I have as much welds as possible, because I also have the 5.9 original block in this box. Plus we got drive shafts, so we got a bunch of extra weight in here. We got the tank in here, but that's empty. So she's solid. She's, like I said, I'm stress testing as much as possible with it still hooked up to here. And she seems good, but I just don't want any excitement in my life in that regard. I think what I might probably do is we'll probably end up putting the other RT on here, the one that's outside that you guys recommended on the last video to put it inside. Probably put the RT up in here, and then I'll probably slide this underneath there, and then that will be out of our way for the most part. So anyways, let me wrap this up, and then we can move on to the next thing. Okay, the other thing I'm doing is the tank straps. They are in good shape, but they're just kind of nasty looking. So that's just how they look. Like I said, not terrible, but what I'm doing is I'm painting them with this metallic, what does it say? Bright coat aluminum is the color. And they're coming out really, really nice looking. So I just painted there just a little bit on the inside just to show you guys. And then I'm gonna paint the whole thing so these things will look fresh, both the tank straps. All right, guys, it's actually a few days later. I've just been working on getting a bunch of stuff. You'll notice that I put the Hellcoda up on the lift for now. And with that cart that we just built, we put the bed underneath there. Probably the other RT is gonna go up here at some point because I use this quite a bit, but I don't use the other RT. But I got the truck up on the lift. So what I'm gonna do right now is see what is attaching the cab to the frame as far as any wiring or hoses, and then we will take the cab mounts off and then we'll lift the cab off. So first and foremost, I know I can take this off because I know this line is running in and around our frame. We're gonna get rid of it. So let's get rid of some of the stuff over here that we are no longer gonna use. There's also a computer system that we can take off the firewall there. And probably gonna have to disconnect our steering. So we'll take off our intermediate shaft and we'll just take a look and see what else we need to remove. Okay, so we pulled out a bunch of junk. We got a bunch of old AN lines, an old alarm system. This I still need. This is the bracket for the PCM that goes on the firewall, but this was attached to it, this old Excel computer. And we just pretty much cleaned out all that. So this corner, most of the junk is all out of there. Still got a bunch of wiring and stuff. There's some aftermarket wiring for that Excel computer that's here. Once we get the engine or the cab up, then I can kind of go through the wires in the back. I also disconnected our master cylinder so that our brake lines stay attached to the frame and everything. So took that off, swung it out of the way, disconnected any wiring for the ABS stuff and brakes. And I also took out the intermediate shaft, so that's disconnected. So it's over there on the ground. And pretty much I gotta double check a few things. There's a few random wires, and I'm gonna put this up and then I can start taking out the body mounts, which there should be one right there. Yeah, so there'll be two in the front. There should be, I think, a total of maybe 6. Probably another one right here, and then there should be one on the back corner as well. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we can hopefully lift this body off. All right, so truck is up in the air. I put a safety stand on the front because there's not much weight in the back of this thing. And we've got our jack points as far forward as we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and we'll zip these off. Here is the connection that goes from our cab to our frame. So I'm gonna disconnect this one as well. Also, we got the parking brake cable, so we'll have to disconnect that and slide this out of here, but that's not a big deal. And there's not really any wiring on this side. So nothing we really have to contend with here. This little ground strap is already removed. And yeah, not a whole lot to deal with. Once we get the cab off, I'm gonna take this exhaust out because it'll be easier to take it out one piece. And then this will be out of here because otherwise I'm gonna have to cut it. It'll just be extra work. So I'll wait till the cab comes off and then I'll be able to get this guy out of here. So that'll be out and then we can clean everything up. So let's zip these bolts out. Looks like they might be, I don't know, we'll see what size they are. I'm not sure offhand, but let me get these out. Okay, so she is up and she is off, boys. So we have this thing off. It looks really, really good, honestly. But we are, of course, gonna make it better. So I'm gonna roll this out. I'm gonna clean it up. I was kind of debating washing it or not because it really isn't that bad, but I will end up cleaning it up. And then we're gonna paint this, of course. So we'll degrease it. Yeah, it is kind of dirty. And also I can take the exhaust out. We'll clean that up. Oh yeah, and look at all this spagoots over here. So we'll wash all this off and then we can clean the rest of it out. I might pull the engine and transmission out of it just so I can get in there better, so we can clean up all that. As far as the suspension components and stuff, I don't know how much I'll get into cleaning and repainting all this just yet, because we're gonna end up redoing all this stuff later. Like, look at this bushing. These bushings are just fried. But other than that, everything, all the hardware is coming out really, really easily, which is good. All the cab mounts, like the bolts look like they're like brand new still. Look at that, still got the factory like paint and all that stuff on it. So everything is in super good shape. Nothing's rotted at all on this truck, which is really, really nice. But let's roll this out, clean it up. I think I'm probably gonna pull this out real quick because it might be pretty easy just to yank that out so I can get in there better and paint everything, and we'll get this thing sorted out. Okay, boys, well, it is nighttime out, and here is our dune buggy, and she is going to dry. So we're gonna let this thing dry overnight, and then I will be able to paint it in the morning. So I'm super excited to see what this thing looks like all cleaned up, because the back looks so good that I cannot wait till all this looks all fresh. So we'll cut to the morning and then we'll get to painting. Okay guys, so it is the next day. So we're gonna go ahead and push this thing out. It looks like it's mostly dry. I popped off, I don't even know what those little things are, but there's some like identification tags, these little guys here on the side. So they just are held in by clips. So I popped those out so that we can preserve these little doohickeys here. Other than that, we can pretty much paint this thing. So let's roll it out and let's get to painting. All right guys, so check this out. She is looking really, really good. I'm gonna let this dry now, but everything came out super, super nice. Again, really happy with the results on how that's working out. And now the frame is clean. Like I said, a lot of the suspension stuff we'll end up cleaning up later. I'm gonna take all this stuff, gotta replace all the bushings and all that. So we'll spend more time on that. I kind of just dusted it for now, just so it doesn't look horrendous. But all this stuff is gonna come off, you know, sway bar bushings, all that, so we can paint that stuff up a little bit better afterwards. But came out super, super nice. And now we can move on to the next step. So I'll just throw this out there. If you guys are close to the Tampa area and you guys are interested in this system, before I do something with it, I have the Mopar Performance headers with this axle dump as well. So this is all one system right now. If you're local, or if you potentially want to ship it, or at least the Mopar Performance headers, again, those are apparently carb legal in California because they are a OEM part. So I've got the Mopar Performance headers that connect into there, and then somebody has a custom axle dump, as you can see there. But if you're interested in them, hit me up, get a hold of me, DM, Facebook, email, you guys know what to do. Okay, so while that dries, we're gonna move on to this over here. So let's put this back down, that way we can get access to it and kind of go through all of this wiring and hoses and whatever else, because there is a lot of additional wiring from that would be there from factory, and we need to remove that wiring. Okay, so we got her down to the ground so we can access all this stuff, and this is what I'm talking about. All of this looks like there's some sort of blow-off valve, some sort of T, another T over here going to a boost gauge, because this thing did have a supercharger on it originally, and then somebody's bundled up all these additional wires through here and over here. So let me just start going through this stuff. Man, look at all that stuff we got out of there, guys. So check that out. Now she is looking a lot more bare, and a lot of stuff has to go back in. But what I did was I swung the fuse box and the remaining mostly factory wiring over here. We'll have to go through that afterwards. But now all this is out of here. I still left all the screws in place just so I know where they go. But the last thing I want to do is brake booster has to come off, and I am going to take out the fender liners. They're riveted from the inside. So let me drill out. There's a few rivets that need to be drilled out, and then I can drop the fender liners, because that way we can paint all this and not have these in place. Plus there's a bunch of dirt and junk trapped in the corners back there, and I want to clean everything out as best as possible. So let's drop these fender liners on both sides. Okay, so fender liners are both out, you guys. Check out that pile of rubbish that has come out of there. Also, I pulled the wiper arms and I pulled the windshield cowl, and look at this. All sorts of junk. So definitely some squirrels or mice or a combination of the two have moved in, or were at one point living in here. Definitely not in here now, otherwise we would be looking at some friends. But this all has to be cleaned out and whatnot. So, and also you guys can see the windshield does need to be changed at some point. It's actually the original windshield. You can see the little Chrysler logo there. But a lot of cleaning has to be done before we can do some painting. I also have to remove the brake booster, but I kind of want to get a video out for you guys, because this is going to take quite a lot of prep before we see any final end result. Other thing too is I do have to run off to the store, because what I think I'm going to do is pick up some vehicle dollies. think that'll definitely support the weight. And then I'm probably gonna try to lift the cab from the top. So I'll probably try to set this thing down, or maybe I can just put the vehicle dollies there. I don't know if it'll have enough height. But what I'm thinking is setting the cab down on vehicle dollies, and that way I can just roll this thing out of here. That way we can get back to working on the chassis and whatnot and roll this thing around, because other reason why I need to roll this around is because you guys can clearly tell that we need to push this thing out and wash it again. I don't know if there's a point in washing it on that. I guess that's technically a big dolly, but it's just gonna rain a bunch of dirt onto our freshly cleaned. We pressure washed that and painted that, and then it's gonna make that all dirty. So either way though, we still have a lot ahead of us, and we have a lot to do. I also have to go pick up some paint for this because I don't have this color. So I think it's PW7 is the color code on this. If we want to redo this in the factory color, I mean, it is just white. It's pretty basic white in my opinion. Probably could just get away with any white. So I still haven't decided if I'm going to get the actual color. Comment down below. Should we go color code or just do generic white and just get it over and done with? It'd be cheaper to do it in just a generic white, and normally the white inside the engine bay isn't all that fancy to begin with. But comment down below what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of this project so far. We are definitely getting a lot done, and a lot is happening. Other thing too, there's our fuel tank strap, so we got that. Engine is out. We've got a bunch of parts too, and like I said, we're gonna get everything cleaned up before we start getting into the fun stuff and the new stuff. I still gotta put some parts to mate the 727 to the Gen 3 Hemi. We got a flex plate, all sorts of stuff from Holley to get this thing up and running. But I want to get all of the grunt work out of the way. That way we have a clean slate to work with and keep going. One more thing I do need you guys to vote on is, should we restore the original interior on this, or should we do something different? I think I'm like 99% wanting to just restore this. You can buy seat covers. This has a really unique interior in it, so it has a tan interior. I'm thinking I'm gonna order a new dashboard on the top, and then I'll order new seat covers, not ones that are gonna slip over top of this. These will come off, and then we'll put new ones on. It's probably gonna be about $600 or so for the new seat covers for this, but I think that'd be more of a sleeper look. We'll redo the headliner, redo the dash. Most of the dash is okay. I'll probably need the surround over there. This unfortunately has a little crack in it, but we might be able to get away with it. And then obviously replace this portion. But the door panels are mint, so that's why I'm kind of thinking of leaving these, because these are in perfect shape. So that is what you guys can vote on. Should we leave this or possibly change the interior? But that's gonna be a wrap for this video. I want to get this out for you guys so you guys are updated to the latest point. I gotta go to the store, get some paint, get some sort of set of wheels so I can wheel this thing out, clean it up so that we can get it prepped for paint. And I also have a lot more stuff to do on this. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys are enjoying the series, make sure you give it a thumbs up, check out the other videos, subscribe if you're new to the channel, turn on that bell so you're notified of when I post a new video. We'll see you guys on the next one.